After years of battling complex PTSD, anxiety, depression, and grief from the loss of 4 brothers, Jennifer found unexpected healing through art therapy. A simple art exercise at Premier Arts Collective's Kaleidoscope event became the turning point, unlocking emotions words could never reach. Today, she's off medication, pursuing a degree in counseling with a focus on art therapy and passionate about helping others heal. Her journey is living proof that healing is happening. Let's dive into our conversation with Jennifer McGraw. Our paths intersect. Pack and your path intersect. Right where you find art therapy. So tell me more about what that was like. Had you heard of art therapy before?
No, and like my husband called me a therapy junkie. So like I, felt like I was well formed in like the different types of therapy. I'd specifically looking up stuff with, PTSD, trauma, all those kind of things, and art therapy never. I mean, maybe it did, but for whatever reason, it never clicked. I loved art, painting, just really just dabbling. I wouldn't ever call myself an artist. Like I just enjoyed it. One week my aunt calls my mom and tells her she has some tickets to Kaleidoscope. I had no clue. My mom's like, "Oh, you want to go?" And So I'm a big foodie. My love language is food. So while I definitely love art, food is always like top list. So she's like, there's going to be food there, and then Jared was painting, who I'd seen him paint before. And so it was like, heck yeah, like night out downtown, get to see Jared paint, eat some good food. Great. I had no idea even anything about Premier Arts Collective. I just knew that it was like a fundraiser event. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm broke, so we'll see how that goes. So they, the art therapist gets up on the stage and we all have like some clay in our hands, and what I hear her say is mold what you think grief feels like for you. Yeah. And maybe in it, she said, it still blows my mind because, and I'll tell you why in a second. So me and Jamie are standing there. We both are talking, but we're not really talking about the thing, which is kind of cool about art therapy. Like we're not having to like go into all your crap. So like I'm making a little spiky ball because that's what grief feels like to me. He makes a heart. And then, the whole goal is like combine them together. And so then, had we been at a big table with everyone, we were kind of standing off to the side, then everyone combined them together. And the cool thing is you can just look at the person next to you or a stranger and somehow know what they were feeling without ever really talking about it. And so the cool thing to that was a year later, I meet her and I tell her about how this brought me to art therapy, because the next day I Google art therapy and like book a therapist. I was like hooked immediately. She says she never said the word grief. She said feelings, emotions, but no, that she didn't prompt with grief. And it's like, wow, like how our brain or God, if someone doesn't believe in God, then your biological brain, how it can still hear what it needs to hear.
Yeah.
To me, that's like a testament that there is a God, because how did I hear grief? So then, booked an appointment with an art therapist, saw her a few times, going good, loving it. I love how it bypasses my mind. So I'm an overthinker. I like to people please, but with art therapy, like you're like in it before you even realize it. Like you're in the middle of tearing out photos and you have no clue where it's going. And then all of a sudden you're analyzing it and you're just like, oh, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Great. But you don't even have to like dive in and go through all that. And it like gets to it quicker, I feel like.
100%.
The best analogy that I can think of, like after years of talk therapy, looking up cognitive behavioral therapy, dialect behavioral therapy, that it's like cutting the grass, And so the anxiety, the panic, was the grass growing. So I'd go in and I'd cut the grass, but the grass kept on growing back. And art therapy, it's like you get the seeds out. Like it's not just about just mowing down the grass to make life manageable. It's like let's like actually get to the root.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but like cutting your grass constantly, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like like gets a little tiring.
Yeah.
So then I'm with her, things are going great. So in the meantime, on the top of working at the salon, I start working for my mom she has a outreach ministry called Be Encouraged. She needs someone to work the front desk for a little bit. So I was like, all right, well, I'll help you out. I only work 3 days at the salon. So she says one day that we are having lunch with someone, and I'm like, okay. She tells me to order it, and then she tells me she wants me to sit in with them with the lunch. And all I know is like this art guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. Sometimes I get a little annoyed with my mom because I'm like, I'm like, do I really want to sit in on your meeting? Like, not really. Like, I just want to get paid to answer the phone. Like, whatever. So I sit down, come to find out, it's the main guy.
Gene.
Yeah. That, like, I'm talking to him, and at this point, right when he sits down, I still don't even know anything connection with Kaleidoscope with him, like anything.
Yeah.
And when they start talking about Jared and Kaleidoscope. So then now I'm like connecting it. And so I'm like, oh, so of course, then I'm like, well, I got to share with you, after that event, found an art therapist who then, of course, works with PAC.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, okay. It just seemed like there was so many things that kept on lining up that I would say that in some form of fashion, still probably trying to define that today, that I'm just me and PAC. Like we're just supposed to, somehow our lives are supposed to be interconnected, because it's just crazy to the things that have just like lined up sometimes.
Yeah. What's wild, so two things. I mean, one, the art therapist you're referring to, when we rebranded and, art and music therapy was something we started really doing, honing in on. I mean, she was the first that we reached out and contacted, and have been partnering with her from the very beginning. She's awesome. And then the second is we almost cut the air clay workshop from Kaleidoscope, because that was the first time we'd done anything like that. And a little shameless plug for Kaleidoscope is it's a really, really cool event. It's very walk around. There's a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot to hear. So it's not necessarily something where you're going to sit down and your full attention is going to be on the MC or the speaker. And so we were like, gosh, how are we going to do something as we call like art therapy light? Like we wanted to be easily accessible, quick. I mean, it was a 10-minute exercise, but we were like, gosh, how do we do this? And we almost didn't do it. And so talk about God working all things for good, for the immediate affirmation of, I remember Gene it's person named Jennifer, and Jennifer reached out and started getting art therapy from Courtney the day after Kaleidoscope because of what Lisa did, all that stuff. I was like, that's crazy. And so, yeah, it's wild, just that affirmation. You're still doing art therapy, correct?
Yeah. Not only doing it, but now, so I've always been interested in mental health. I think being a hairstylist, a part of that just goes along with it. I'd say that people like to do their trial run of before they tell their therapist, they tell their hairstylist.
100%. And if they don't have a therapist, you are the therapist.
Yeah, like it definitely. The only problem is before you like have the background knowledge, you just label everyone as crazy. So you really don't know how to help anyone. And so, yeah, so I've always, had a passion for mental health. I'd for years said that I would love to like become a counselor, but that's where the fear and anxiety would creep in and, tell you you're not good enough. It's not going to happen. And then, yeah, I am graduating in November with the first stage of it. And it's now realizing how much healing can come. And just how many people don't even know about art therapy. And there's definitely not enough, or schools that offer it also.
Very true.
But just to be able to offer that to people, and be a part of, helping someone along their journey in healing. And, it's really just because of seeing what it's done in my life. One of my sons who was not for therapy. He said, only weak people go to therapy, that he loves it. Like I had to reschedule one of his appointments because we're leaving to go out of town. And this week is just kind of a little chaotic. And like, it's only going to push him 2 weeks, but he was mad. Like he loves it. I think partially for him is because he doesn't have to talk about it. I mean, and sometimes he does. It's not that you can't talk about stuff. But like one time he did his very first session, they like used a body layout and then he drew symbols on each part of the body of what he feels. And this is a kid who likes to isolate, very much like his mother. Every bit of it, all is in his feelings, very emotionally driven. And he was able to communicate it. He had an ice cube on the wrist that he feels tingly, a weight on the chest. The head looked like a bunch of swirls. And so just seeing what it's done in my life, and it's like, yeah, like I want to be a part of that.
2 questions. If you had to give an elevator pitch of like what art therapy is, what would it be? Because we've worked with a videographer. A videographer came in and shot something for us. And so, we've had conversations. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what we do. And then he came in and he's like, oh yeah, sure, sounds good. And then sat in that session, also using air clay, also for the 2 days after the Kaleidoscope. We did it with Lisa and a group of ladies. And he shot that video. And then he left and he's like, I thought I knew what you guys did and what art therapy was. And then sitting in on it, he's like, oh my goodness. So what would your elevator pitch, or maybe not pitch, but description of what it would be and what it is? And then 2, make it more personal, if you are comfortable sharing this, like what has been kind of like a breakthrough moment or a story where you're like, oh my goodness, like this unlocked something or helped you get over. I mean, because I'm amazed by your story, anxiety, panic attacks, you're off medication, just the layer upon layer upon layer of grief. And so I'm amazed by that. Would love to hear if there was kind of a turning point or a breakthrough with art therapy. Hey, gallery listeners, I want to take a quick pause in the episode and invite you to join our mission of using the arts as a vehicle of healing and hope. Your gift will directly support our therapeutic arts programs and our initiatives around the world. To financially partner with us, visit our website at premierartscollective.com/give and check out the link in the show notes. Here, you can give a one-time gift or become a member of the curated, our monthly giving community. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So my elevator pitch would be just try it. I would say it's not like anything. Like, had I not painted some before, I probably would have been too intimidated to go because I thought that it's only for like artists. Nothing that I create in art therapy is pretty. One thing hangs on my wall. That's it. And I'll explain that one in a minute. And so, yeah, it's just a great way to address trauma, anxiety, depression, anything, any negative feelings, but it don't even have to be negative. Like, there's days that I go in there thinking that I'm feeling good, and it really hits heavy. And so a way to address all of that without having to, get down into it, or overthink it. It's, I think even in my bio, this is how I worded it, but it bypasses my brain and allows my heart to speak.
Yeah.
It just, because if you're in regular therapy, this is a little bit longer than an elevator pitch, but you ask they're asking those questions. We already know cognitively what they want to hear. I know what the cognitive right answer is. When dealing with anxiety, okay, yes, I know the chances of A, B, and C happening is not, likely or whatever. But with art therapy, you don't really use the cognitive part. I mean, you might do it in some parts of it, but really
You're literally using a different side of your brain.
Yeah, your subconscious, the stuff that's deep down in there that you're just huh. So some of those moments for me, it would be really hard for me to pick one. So we'll see how far I go with this. The very first session that I had was tearing out magazine photos. And so she tells me 3. Now, sometimes I would love more instructions than what she gives me. And if she's listening to this, she knows that. Because I'm like, well, how much paint? What kind of photos? How big? How small? Nope, doesn't matter. Okay, that's a little aggravating, especially for someone who has perfectionistic tendencies.
Well, is that not the point?
Yep. So I'd pick out 2. It's landscape photos. I love sunrises, sunsets. I love just the mountains. I love the sky. I think that's when you just see God as the artist. So now I need the 3rd. I'm flipping through this magazine, starting to feel a little anxious. I need a 3rd, but I don't want to do another landscape. So all this thing, I'm using my cognitive brain at this point. So then I get to a photo. It's a little girl with a dog. She's sitting on the steps. I'm like, all right, done. Do I really pay attention to that photo? No, I see a dog. Cool. Now I'll glue them to the page. So now we're talking about it. Oh, what about the dog? Well, maybe she kind of has a weird face. Maybe she's afraid of a dog. Maybe she got bit by a dog. And then it's well, was that because her parents weren't protecting her? And I'm like, wait. No, I've dealt with my childhood. We're not going into my parents didn't protect me. Which we really actually weren't. It brought out how I was talking even earlier about it. This is how it kind of came out is my belief that it is my responsibility to make sure that everyone is safe. And with my kids particularly, they're not allowed to experience any adversity. If anything bad happens to him, that means that I failed. I failed as a mother. I failed as a person. it's then their whole life is going to be horrible and they're going to become drug addicts and, all these things. And all from this freaking photo with this girl with this dog. But that's exactly what it does. It just kind of hits, and then there's been perfectionistic ones that, you paint, but the paintbrush goes on the end of a long stick. And so you have to, there was a vase on the table and I had to copy the vase. This was kind of like a workshop setting. So there was multiple people in there. So I'm like looking at their stuff like, oh crap. But we all have like this, 12-inch stick and you can't paint like that far. But it was made just to be for the joy of painting, then the next week we took that same painting and then we put beads, whatever on it. It was just to enjoy painting and not trying to always make it come out to be something that you want to hang on your wall.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I promise this last one. The third one, this is the one that hangs on my wall. So she had some flashcards, some words to like kind of pull up, and it was like any word that I just felt some kind of emotion to. Just say yes, say no. We narrowed down to 3 words. To be honest, I can't even remember exactly. I know one was fear. One was safety. And I don't even remember what the third one was. And so now we have these 3 words, and she wants me to write them on a piece of paper with a sentence about them. Okay. Well, how big? No. Okay. She gives me a giant piece of paper. Still no rules. I, for whatever reason, decided to write them small, and I write something like, it's important for everyone to be safe or keep everyone safe. But then in one of the other words, somehow I write, I'm a work in progress. Maybe the word was broken, and so I write these words down, and then she has me rip up the page. Okay, so here's the cool thing of how you just never know. So again, big, giant page, I write small words. Now I've ripped them all up. Now she hands me like an 8x8 canvas. Okay, so had I wrote the words big, there's not much that would have fit on that 8x8 canvas. And so she, now I've got to glue them onto the canvas. Any words I want, like whatever one's kind of going to connect with me. Well, the one that really just kind of fit the best was I'm a work in progress. So after we kind of put them together, and then she had me take gold and glue, or do the gold in the cracks. And I will not try to pronounce that method.
Kintsugi.
Yep, that is it. That, that we're all broken, but then when you fill the cracks with gold, we're actually more valuable. Yeah. And then from that, I added an infinity symbol with the word grace that I'm always a work in progress. I kind of want to be, listen, I would also love to be perfect too. So, but that would, I know that that's not going to happen. But having grace for myself and realizing, when I have those days that my brain does the funny thing or, get mad, yell at the kids, whatever, that I'm just a work in progress. And having that grace doesn't mean that I have failed or, went, the cutting after so long, oh, it's all done. It's out the window now. I thought that I was doing good. It's no, we're all just a work in progress. And that one hangs on my wall. It's added a little bit of a kind of self-portrait that then half the face is blacked out almost because it's I don't know, I just we all, just what that part reflected for me was that we all have 2 lives or 2 faces. We have the one that we put out there or, and then one that's on the inside. But that's with everyone. You just never know what's what someone's going through.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those would be my 3. And I mean, but it happens all the time. It's, you just really never know
Yeah.
where the session's going to go.
When I've been in, workshops and groups with the organizations we partner with, it's like the brain catches up. It's like it catches up. It feels like a little bit like a mystery novel in a way. Like for me,
Yeah.
You read a mystery novel or a movie and you're like, I wonder who did it.
Yeah.
I wonder what about it. And then at the end, it's like, oh, Sally did it. And you're like, well, of course it was Sally, and you look back at all the clues and you're like, oh yeah, I mean, how would you not think it's Sally? And I think in a similar but different way, it's, something as simple as using your non-dominant hand to scribble or painting with a stick, and all these different things. And it's literally an exercise of, okay, turn off the analytical side.
Yeah.
That, like, just read the novel. Turn off all of imagine reading a mystery novel and on every page, you're like, I wonder who it is. And you're looking for all the clues on that page and you read the next page. Like, it would take forever to get through the book.
Yep.
You have to just read the book. You have to do the exercise, tear the page, paint the paint the painting. But then at the end, it's amazing with the subconscious. Like, oh, I pulled this because this and these two things connect, and how God can meet you there in those moments. And it's like, I know that I did this, but I felt I've felt like a passenger on my own train sometimes,
Yes.
And at the end, it's like, oh wow, this is incredible, and how God can use those things. But it's like, I did this, but I don't know, it just felt like collage, or it felt like, and I when it comes to being intimidated for doing art therapy, for not being an artist, I am the chief of that. And so it's like, I'm just throwing colors,
Yes.
I'm just throwing colors and hoping for the best. And even then, if it's a cake and there's layers to the cake and then there's like the chocolate at the very bottom of the cake, the work it takes to get it's almost like you just cut the cake in half. Like the layers you have to work through to get to the chocolate become removed. And it's like, oh wow, we went from here's the cake to I'm eating chocolate real fast.
I mean, session 1, normally you go to other therapy sessions, and it's not to knock other therapy, because I think that, we're all made differently. So different things speak to each person. So, and who knows, that probably helped lay down some groundwork but the first 3 sessions are like intro sessions. It's like, okay, like, why are you here? What are your goals? You don't touch on anything majorly. Like my very first session, like we were hitting like a core belief that like directs so many of my actions in my daily life that I didn't even realize that I even held that belief. Like it, and I mean, there's something similar called transformation prayer that's like I would say the like religious version of that you get truth spoke to like these lies, and but again, you can still overthink that one. Like art therapy, it's just like some pictures and sometimes markers or paint, like and like I said, it's never pretty. Like I think that's probably one of the more intimidating things why people don't try it, is they think that it's for artists or it took me a few times to realize that everything doesn't have to look pretty, and realizing that really even that hour, even if I wanted to, it's not going to happen. But it's just a really cool like process to kind of get down to the deep stuff and get some healing, and then you're not just cutting the grass every day.
Yeah.
Like eventually the grass is going to stop growing because you got the seed out. Yeah. Like, and that's, where I feel like I'm at right now in my walk. Now, tomorrow, who knows? Like, I will say that this is the longest stretch I've ever been of just feeling good. Like again, do I have bad days? Sure. Like, but to have the courage to enroll in college when, like I graduated high school, but barely. Like, and so to do it 20 years later and not be afraid of failure. Actually, I was still afraid of failure. I didn't tell anyone for like the first month that I was even taking classes, because that way, if I flunked out, they wouldn't know. So the fear is still there. I don't want to like over glamorize things, because the fear was there, but I was able to face it anyway. Like that says something.
Yeah.
And then to possibly change like my whole career path. Although I really just want to open up a salon and call it Hairapy and offer therapy and hair, because I still like hair. And I think like doing hair is kind of my in with people, especially the people who view therapy negatively. But yet come to the salon and still get therapy.
See the exact same
Yeah.
thing.
So I think would be easier to reach them than those that won't call a therapist or Google art therapy the next day. It's like, oh, well, Logan, how you just, whatever you just told me about, do you want to go in a little bit deeper? Like we could do, a session later, or, but then still even give you a little bit of insight, like right then and there. Like it just is a way to still reach people in a whole nother way.
Yeah. Well, you have immense courage doing that, going through school. You have immense courage for hopping on a podcast and sharing your story and your journey. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. And it's an honor to be, organizationally a small part of that. And hope that as time goes, that ratio of not being in your life versus being in your life decreases, and we're involved in many years down the road.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.